So today is review day. Review for the quiz. Quiz 4, right? All right. Number 1. 10, 30, 18. All right. Number 1. 4 square roots of 48.
16 to the square root of 3.
Yes. Now, when Caleb did his, and he did it right, he did 12 and 4. Nothing wrong with 12 and 4 except for 12 can be done again. Now, Annie went straight to 16 and 3 because it's faster. So if you wanted to break 48 into 16 and 3, it's much faster. Get you the answer quicker. If you do 4 and 12, you can still get the answer, but you'd have to break it down again. So the square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 4. So then I get square root of 16 is 4, and then 4 times 4 is 16. You cannot take the square root of 3. Ugly decimal answer, so we just leave it as square root of 3.
Wait, hold on. Can you break down 4 more?
You could, except for there's no square root to it, is there?
Oh.
Does that make sense? Yeah, so we'd say, what's the square root of 16? 4. Done. Right? Okay. 2. I've got a 3x square roots, 18x to the 10th. All right, if you guys need any help, here's the math master. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So, number 2, 3x. It's already outside of the square root, right? So let's leave it as a 3x. 18. Caleb, what do you think? 18. What times what makes 18?
I'd say 9 and a 2.
Nice job. Square root of
3 and a 2.
Square root of 9 and square root of 2. Good. Now what about the x to the 10th? We're going to take half of that, right? So if we take half the exponent, half, it just becomes a plain old x to the 5th, right? Now there's more to do. It's not done. We've got to tidy it up a little bit. It's review day today. So the 3x is already out. Leave it alone. Square root of 9, 3. Yep. Square root of 2. Oh, that's like an ugly number, like 1.41, blah, blah, blah. So just leave it as the square root of 2. And the x to the 5th is already done. Well, I mean, technically the answer is there. Let's tidy it up, right? Let's tidy it up. 3 times 3, not 6. 9. X to the 6th. You see the x to the 6th? 1 there, 5 more. And then the square root of 3 is, or excuse me, the square root of 2 is stuck there all by itself, so I'll leave it inside the square root. Simplified. Okay, should we do number 3?
Yes.
Okay, number 3. I've got a square root of 121 x 9. Okay, now 121.
11?
Hey, I think it is. Nice job, Andy. I think it's 11. 11 times 11. Square root of 121 is exactly 11. Not the square root of 11, just exactly 11. Now I want to take half of this. But I don't want a fractional or decimal answer. I really want a nice answer. So I'm going to take 1 away from the 9 and make it x8. So I'm going to go square root of x8, square root of x, right? And now I can take half of the x to the 8th. All right, so I can go 11, take half of that, half of the exponent, makes an x4, square roots of x, and of course, we're pretty much done. I didn't really need the parentheses, did I?
I'm confused why you just said 11. Why didn't you do
Because 11 comes 11.
square
Yeah,
root?
it's
Why
a
didn't
perfect
you do
square.
Square root of 11.
Because the square root of 11 is 11.
Okay, ready? So it's a perfect square. Square root of 36. What is it? Plain old 6. Square root of 49. Right? Square root of 81. Square root of 100. So no, right. Square root of 121 is
10.
just
Well,
11.
well, 11.
Just plain 11. Does that make sense now, Landon?
Yeah.
Okay. 11 x4 square roots of x. Okay. All right. How am I doing? Thumbs up.
Thumbs down.
Okay. Number 4. Square root 144 over 25. Yeah. You guys see these are both perfect roots,
Yes.
perfect squares. So plain old 12 over 5. That's it. That's it.
I did that, right? You did.
All right. Number. Am I going too fast?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Number 5. Let's do square root of 5 over 3. Hey, this is almost the same one. This is the same one we did on the warm-up, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So let's see. Square root of 5, square root of 3, right? So the problem is square root of 3, right? Can't have a square root in the denominator, so we fix the problem with the problem, right? We fix the problem with the problem. The problem is square root of 3, square root of 3, right? Gives me a square root of 15 over the square root of 9, right? Square root of 9, but that's just 3. Now, don't divide 3 into 15 because that is not a 15. That's about a 3.89. I don't know. It's some ugly decimal. Anyway, that's it. Yeah.
Do we have to put the square root in front of the 15?
Yes,
Why?
because we'll go back to here. Square root of 5 times the square root of 3 is, okay. Annika, great question. Right here. Check it out. Square root of 5 times square root of 3 is a square root, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Annie?
What if we do like square root it? Like we get knocked off?
If you put a decimal?
Yeah.
Great question. Can I answer that?
You can answer.
Yeah, watch it. Check it out. So, hold on. Mr. Hoya is going to be able to answer this question for you, too. Okay, square root of 2. You ready? Can you see my calculator? Okay, you ready? I love this. You ready? Check it out. Is that the answer?
Oh, because it keeps going.
Yes.
There you go. It's not the answer. Say again, why is this not the answer?
Because it keeps going on.
It's like pi, so it's an irrational number. So which is better? Is this answer better or is this answer better?
The first one.
First
That one's
one.
more additive.
First one's exact, right? Okay. See here. So the first one, the square root of 2, is exact, right, girls? It's exact. Square root of 2 is exact. That's the exact. It's like pi. When you write the little pi thing, that's exact. 3.14 is not exact. So we leave the square root of 2. Good answer. Good answer and good question. Okay. All right, moving on. Number 6. Nope. Yep, 6. I've got this 5 square root of 27 minus 2 square root of 12. Okay. Now, when you do roots, just like variables, you add or subtract the ones that are the same because you're looking for how many of these things you have. Well, these are not the same. That's 5 square root of 27. That's 2 square root of 12. They're not the same, but maybe if we reduce them, they might become the same. So let's reduce 27. What do you got? 27. What times what? Hannah, what times what makes 27? Hannah, I'm going to move you. You're not going to be overly happy with me, but I want you right here. Please don't argue.
Oh,
Yep, I want you right there.
sorry.
Okay, now, what times what makes 27?
3 and
9 and 3 is good. What times what makes 12?
6 and 2.
Yes, but let's use a better combination. 4 and 3. Good. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Hannah. So, now, square root of 9 is 3. Okay. Square root of 4 is 2. Let's see what we got. 15 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 3. Can we subtract them now?
Yeah.
So let's subtract them. 11 square root of 3. Not square root of 6. There are no square roots of 6's up there. There's how many square roots of 15? Take away how many square roots of 3 makes a total of 11 square roots of 3's. Okay, thumbs up.
No.
Okay, thumbs up. Okay. All right, hopefully we can change those thumbs down. Okay. All right, Hannah, now look at you work so hard. I love it. Awesome, thank you. 7. 2 square roots of 6 times 3 square roots of 3. Okay. So there's no FOIL because there's no plus signs. There's no FOIL. There's no distribute because there's no plus signs. What we can do is multiply. Let's multiply our whole numbers. 2 times 3 is 6. Let's multiply our square roots. Square root of 18. We can break down 18, right? 9 and 2. 9 and 2. Square root of 9 is 3 times the 6 is just 18 square roots of 2. It should be easy, I agree. And you know what we did last week? We did those 3 days of doing just this stuff, and I think that's going to help a lot, right? Okay, ready to turn the page? Or I'm going to turn the page.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to turn the page. Number 8, okay? All right, y equals x squared minus 2x minus 35.
Yeah, it's 2 8.
It is 2 8s. Well, okay, for a math teacher, that's pretty good, isn't it? Okay.
A and 8B.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. 8A and 8B. Okay, so what I want to do is graph this, okay? So to graph it, I'm going to know a couple of things.
Wait, then did we skip 8A?
There's 2 8s. Your poor dad can't count, Landon.
So,
Sorry
are we
about that.
So are we gonna skip the other one?
That's alright.
Oh, I didn't do that other 8. We'll squeeze that in over here.
We know how to do this.
We'll do it real quick.
Shoot.
All right, 2 square roots of 5
Wait, I
times 4 square roots of 5 plus 2. Okay? So we're going to distribute this times this, right? 2 times 4 is 8. Square root of 5 times square root of 5, square root of 25, right? Then let's multiply 2 square roots of 5 times 2. I get 4 square roots of 5. How am I doing?
Good.
Wait, hold on.
Wait a second.
Wait, why do we have a square root of 5 by default?
Here, right here.
Yeah.
Great question. So the 2 times 2 makes the 4, right? But what do we do with the square root of 5? It's still multiply to it also. Okay. Square root of 25, that's easy. That's 5. 5 times the 8 is 40 plus 4 square roots of 5. Can you add these? Can I make that 44 square roots of 5? No. You can't add them because that's not a square root of 5, is it? Okay. All right, now I'm going to... Go ahead, Hannah. That gives me time to grab some graph paper, okay? Perfect. You are awesome, Hannah. Anybody else need graph paper? Okay. All right.
Oh, I do.
Annie. All right. All right, you guys, here we go. Second number 8. Y equals a x squared minus a 2x minus 35. Okay, so if we have to graph this, right? So first of all, what's one feature that we know? What's one feature that we know? What do you think, Annie?
Y-intercept is negative 30.
Good. Y-intercept, so we've got an answer. Nice job. Y-intercept is at 0, negative 35. Great. Okay, what's another feature that we might know?
It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a parabola. Is it a smiley face or a frowny face? It's a smiley face because A is positive. Okay, so that means we're going to have a minimum, right? So if we're going to have a minimum, what's our minimum?
Negative. Wait.
How do we find our minimum?
I have no idea.
Well, our minimum is going to be our vertex. That makes sense? Right? So how do we find a vertex? Well, we could on the calculator. I'll show it on the calculator. Vertex form, or we can use our x equals negative b over 2a, right? We're going to have a negative 2 over a 2 times 1 because a is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 35. A, b, and c. So I'll get a 2 over 2, which is 1. But it's going to be a 1 something, right? 1 something because every point has an x and a y value. So how do we get the 1? How do we get the something? Plug it in. Y equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 35, which I think is negative 36. You can check it on your calculator, but I'm pretty sure it's negative 36. Negative 36. Okay, now, the question originally said find the zeros. The question originally said find the zeros. How are we going to find the zeros? So if we set it equal to 0, does that make sense? So we go, okay, 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 35.
I have a question. Could you write with pen?
I could, Landon. Would that help you? Sure. Okay, so I've got a 0. If we're going to do zeros, is that better?
Yeah.
0 equals x squared minus 2x minus... How do you mean solve it?
Like plus 35. Wait, no.
Oh, you taking a B.
We did that.
No, like, all you need to do is find the square thing.
We could go complete the square and solve. We could. We could. What do you think, Ellie?
No, I have.
Not wrong, by the way. Not wrong.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm on a different problem. But
Well-
what do you use for gravity? What do you use for the number for gravity?
Negative 16.
Meters?
Oh, yeah, for gravity. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. Okay, so now, let's go back to this, you guys. Let's go back. So, I got to find the zeros. First of all, I'll give you a hint. How many answers?
2.
Anybody have an easy way to solve for the 2? I just heard it. I heard it. Say it louder. Factor.
We can just do
Okay.
Minus 7, x plus 5.
Yes, Josiah. Minus 7, x plus 5. Everybody agree with Josiah? Right? But are those the answers? No. You gotta solve it.
7 and x minus 5.
Because 0 equals an x minus 7 are little mini equations, right? What do we get?
7 and negative 5.
7.
Okay, now, those are my zeros, aren't they? How do they correspond to my graph, though?
It's when it hits the x-intercept.
They're the x-intercept. So let's see, graphing it. Let's graph it real quick. I'm probably going to go, I've changed my scales. Oh, let's see, maybe I'll go by 5. So I'll go negative 10, negative 20, negative 30. Yes. 1, you want me to slow down? Okay, let me just put down my graph and I'll slow down, okay? All right, so I'm going to graph it in a second as soon as you get caught up. I really changed my scales on my y's because I didn't want to go all the way down to negative 35, right?
Also, yeah, why do we have to do the negative?
Well, if we have to graph it, we need the vertex,
Oh, it's
right?
asking us to graph?
It does. I think it does say,
It says graph.
yeah, yeah.
So what was it?
Okay,
What was that?
so the vertex was 1, negative 36. Let me get a different colored pen. So let's go to 1, negative 36 is about, it's about there, right?
Can you scoot it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Or down?
Yeah, there's my, okay, I've got a y-intercept, right? Andy said the y-intercept is negative 35, right about there. I've got zeros at 7 and negative 5. And it's only really wide only because I changed the scales, right? Changed scales. So what are the zeros? What are the zeros?
5 and 7.
Yes, 7 and negative 5. Yes, those are the zeros. I think somebody said those are the x-intercepts, right? Okay. All right. Can you do that tomorrow? Okay. We'll move on to 9 as soon as you're all caught up, okay? Well, we'll have to deal with fractions or decimals. I can handle that. I've got a calculator. I can do that. Okay, you ready? Whisk this away. And let's look at number 9. Now, number 9 might have some fractions in it, but I can handle that. So, number 9, I have 2x squared.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you say graph and find the zeros, can we do it by completing the square and then graph it?
Sure, that's another method of graphing. Absolutely, I like that.
Can I just find the zeros?
Well, if it says graph, you have to graph to get that point too, right?
Not really.
Well, you
I
would,
can just factor that equation to get the same thing.
sure, you would get the answer to the zeros, absolutely. But you wouldn't get the answer to the graph. Okay, all right, you ready for 9? So, first thing, I'm going to bring the 9 over, okay? Just bring the 9 over. 2x squared minus 20x equals 9. Everybody good on that?
Oh, we're doing number 9.
Yeah, so if we have to complete the square, I really don't want a number in front of the x squared, okay?
So you divide it by 2.
Divide everything by 2, okay? Divide everything by 2. How's that sound? Okay. Well, so when I complete the square, I really don't want a number here. So let's get rid of divide by 2. Now over here, we're going to get a 4.5. You okay with 4.5?
Can we just go 9 2?
Or 9 halves, yeah. I like that too. Okay, so half of this.
Is negative 5.
Negative 5.
Okay, half of b is negative 5. What's half of that squared? What's half of that squared?
Probably like 2.5. Can you move your
25 maybe?
Wait, half of
Half of 10.
25.
Okay, goes 25. Let's go ahead and add 25 here. But. I just added 25. Way up balance. Way up balance. I gotta add 25 to the other side. Okay, good. Balance it out. Otherwise, it's gonna fall over. Okay. Okay, so then, will this factor? Okay, what do you think? X minus 5, right? So 29.5, right? X minus 5 squared equals 29.5, right?
Wait, why did we say 4.5? Wait, did we? Wait. Oh, sorry. Wait, can you slide it? I didn't see that. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah, and you know, once I start recording, I can't adjust the focus. Yeah, Julia? Well, if it says complete the square, I've got to see complete the square, right? Mr. Massey told me, hammer that complete the square. He said you got to do it a lot in pre-calc and a lot in calc, right, Mr. Hoya? Yep, a lot of. Yes, Caleb.
If I complete the square, like if I do the not complete the square, but like half b and then square it before I divide.
Oh, really good question. Very excellent question. Can I answer that when I get done? Really, really good question, okay?
Sure.
And I'll show it, okay? But it's going to take, let me finish this first, okay? All right, so square root, right? Square root. Now, we have two choices. We can find out what this, if we needed to graph this, we needed answers to graph. I could actually find the square root of 29.5. But if we wanted to keep it accurate, we can keep it as square root of 29.5, right? And that is two answers, a positive and negative. And if I add the 5, I get x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 29.5. Now the one tomorrow won't have a decimal in it, okay? It'll be a much nicer problem. Now, Caleb, I'm going to answer your question real quickly, okay?
Do it.
Okay, so let's go way back up to 2x squared minus 20x equals 9, okay? So here's the other technique, is you common factor out the 2, okay? Here's the other technique, and this works too. Take half of that, right? You watching, Caleb?
I'm watching it.
Half that's 5 squared, and you get 25. But when you add 25 here, you've actually really added 50 to this side. So when you balance it, you've got to add 50 over here. We'll get the same answer, because then you'll get the 59 here. You with me on the 59 here?
Yeah. No,
But then you'll still have to divide by 2.
half of 20 is 10, right?
Half of, well, no, you have to common factor the 2. You can't do complete the square with the 2 because it has to be able to factor into perfect trinomial, okay? Can I move on? All right. Hey, we're getting close, aren't we? Let's go ahead and solve. 10's easy. Let's do 10 real quick, okay? 10's easy. 10. X squared minus 9 equals 0. Suggestions. Suggestions.
X and X.
X and X. I like that. And what else?
Plus. What?
Yes, you're right.
Plus 3.
Plus 3 minus 3. So what are my two answers?
3 and
3 and negative 3. Thumbs up. Everybody agree with Landon? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. 11. 3x squared minus 50 equals 0. Okay? Suggestions?
No answer.
Well, there is an answer, but does it factor?
Yes.
No.
No.
No. So what am I going to do?
Wait, why doesn't it affect it?
Well, I can't take out a 3. I can't take an X. I could solve.
You take the square root of what you're first and then you divide by 3.
Oh, good job.
Let's do what you said, yes, but let's do a couple little steps first, okay? Let's solve it. Let's solve. So, all right, if I solve, let's go plus 50. Plus 50, okay with that? Plus 50 plus 50. 3x squared equals 50. Okay, let's just solve it. What's next? Not yet. How about divide by 3? Divide by 3. X squared equals 50 divided by 3. Okay, now let's take the square. How many answers? How many answers? 2. X equal to plus or minus the square root of 50 over 3. Now, is that a very appropriate answer? So we can fix. Am I going too fast?
Wait.
Okay, there you go. Oh, wait, sorry. You can't see that.
Wait, why is there a 3 under the...
Oh, we divided by 3. Divide by
Okay.
3, divide by 3. Okay. Now, this answer needs to be fixed. Okay? This answer needs to be fixed, right?
Oh, and then he got
So let's make this square root of 25 square root of 2 over the square root of 3. Okay with that?
I'm super okay with that.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Square root of 25 is 5, right? 5 square root of 2 over the square root of 3. Plus or minus. Is that answer okay?
Yes.
no, because they squared it.
So let's fix the problem with the problem, right? Can't have a square root in the denominator. Square root of 3, square root of 3. So a grand answer, 2 answers, plus or minus 5 square root of 6 over 3.
Wait.
Because I made the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. That was a little bit more challenging. I like those. Makes you think, huh? Yeah.
Wait, so it's x equals...
X equals. Yep.
I always forget the plus and minus.
Yeah. You know, always 2 answers with x squared, right? Always 2 answers with x squared, right? And guess what? When we get to algebra 2, if it's x cubed, how many answers?
3.
If it's x to the 4th, how many answers?
4.
Always.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. Turn the page. All right, let's do number 12. I need more paper. Okay, we're getting there. Almost done. All right, 12. We have...
Simplify it so you do x plus 6 and then x plus 6 equals 4.
You are way ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now, what do you think we should do?
So you simplify it.
Actually, let's square root. Let's square root it. You guys okay with square root?
No.
Okay, how are we doing? Square root, how many answers?
2.
2. So we get x plus 6 equals plus or minus 7, okay? Now, Caleb did one like this on the warm-up. I'm going to do what Caleb did, but in a slightly different way. He did, I'm going to go x plus 6 equals 7 and x plus 6 equals negative 7, because I need 2 answers, don't I? 2 answers. For 2 answers, I better have 2 equations. 2 answers, 2 equations. So now it's pretty easy to solve. Minus 6, x equals 1. Minus 6, x equals negative 13. All right, 13 should be easy, but I'll wait for you. I'll wait for 13. 13 should be easy, I'm hoping. And then we're almost done. Okay, slide it up. 13, and then last one's 14. We're just about done. We are so close. X squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. Now, how would you like to solve this one?
Vector.
I like that answer. That's the way I would do it. I mean, there's now we've learned you can complete the square. There's lots of different ways to do it, but I like factor. So what do you think, Hannah?
X.
Yep.
No way. It's minus 3 plus 2.
Okay, do what Caleb said.
Minus 6 plus 3. But of course the answers are going to be just the opposite because we do our many equations, right? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So we know that negative 6 times 3 is a negative 3. But when we make our many equations and solve, we get x equals 6 and x equals negative 3. Okay? We are almost done. We have one problem on the back. We have a story problem. That way when you do the story problem tomorrow, you'll know how to do it. Okay? Ready to turn the page? Wait for you. All right. Jay, did you go too fast?
This is the last answer.
All right, 16. You ready? Now, Ellie, shh, quiet guys. Ellie asked a really good question. She said, Miss Davies, she said, what is gravity? So we know. Give me 5.
I'm listening.
Thank you. So, gravity. If you just drop something in feet, h is equal to negative 16t squared. We got this equation a while ago, plus v0t plus h0, okay? Write that down. So you have that for tomorrow, okay? Write that down. Now, right at the bat, this is gravity. It will always be 16 if it's feet per second or feet per second squared. If it's meters, Mr. Massey will have you use 9.8, okay? Now, if we just drop it, the initial velocity is what? 0, right? If we just drop it, there is no initial velocity. Just drop it, right? Initial velocity, how hard you throw it up or how hard you throw it down. But if you just drop it, you're not doing anything to it, right? You don't need that because you're just dropping it. You're not throwing it up or you're not throwing it down, right? So we're really going to have h equals negative 16t squared plus 100. Okay, there's my equation, right? Yeah.
Will this come out with a square root answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now, find the ball when its height is 20. Well, h, 20, right? H, that's height. Let's put 20 right there. 20 equals. No, you don't. Because you might need it tomorrow. Okay, there you go, smart girl, right? Okay. All right, Hannah says minus, let's solve, minus 100, minus 100. I get a negative 80 equals negative 16t squared. Divide by negative 16. I'm going to need a calculator, right? I go 80 divided by 16, and I get an answer about, I get 5 equals t squared. Now, there are two answers, but we will not take the negative because you can't have negative time, right? Yeah, square root, and it's about 2.24 for t, okay?
Or we could just say it's square root.
I would take square root of 5, yeah. I would take that because that's such a better answer. Okay. Now, when does the ball hit the ground? All right, well, what's the height when the ball hits the ground? 0, right? 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 100, right? Oh, scoot it over, right? Caleb, question.
Find the height of the ball when it's 20 feet in the air.
Oh, I'd probably say when it's 20 feet, sure, I can reword this. Find the height of the ball when it is 20 feet above the ground. Yeah.
Then it's still going to be 20 feet above the ground. 20?
Wait, what?
The question should be worded, when is it at 20 feet?
Ah, when. Good, okay. I'll fix it. I was in a hurry typing this up yesterday. I was like flying through it and the bell was going to ring, but I can fix that. Okay, minus 100, right? I'll fix that. Thanks, Caleb. You're right. I really was flying through this yesterday trying to get it done. 100 divided by 16, 6.25, right?
First step, what the heck happened?
Okay, all right, so I'll back up. When the ball hits the ground, height 0, right? So I set equals 0, minus 100, minus 100. Divide by negative 16.
And then you get negative 6. So that's the
Square root. And the square root of 6.25, I don't know. 2.5, wow, that turned out perfect. Wow, that was pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,